I usually like finding unpopular repertoire and introducing people to composers that they probably have never heard of. But sometimes you gotta just play the classics. The Bach cello suites are inarguably the pinnacle of cello repertoire. All cellists know and study the Bach cello suites at some point in their career and likely perform them a lot too. They've been credited as the first pieces for solo cello, but if you've looked around my channel, you know that's not true. Regardless, they were incredibly innovative pieces, and they're really special to many cellists. What I love about the Bach cello suites is no two cellists play them the same. There's a lot of room for personal interpretation, and there's also a lot of ambiguity in the manuscript, which lets a lot of people get creative. The surviving manuscripts that we have from the Bach cello suites are actually not written in Bach's hand himself. They're either from his wife or some of his copyists or students, so we don't actually have a direct source for what Bach was intending. Though we can compare the sources and make judgments by looking at Bach's other similar works, like the violin partitas, we really have no absolute source. The biggest thing this affects is bowings, as composers in the Baroque period generally weren't writing dynamics or many articulation markings. But the bowings affect the phrasing a lot. It's always interesting for me to hear other cellists and see what kind of bowings they choose and how they choose to play a phrase. I'm really excited to be on Patreon now, and I thought for my first patron-funded video, it would make sense to go back to the basics. The fourth suite in E-flat is definitely my favorite, and I find that it's just not played enough. The key signature makes it pretty uncomfortable for string players. We never like playing in a lot of flats, but I love the color and the timbre that it gets out of the instrument. I also find a lot of the movements to be really reflective and thoughtful and slightly less extroverted from some of the other suites. The Allemande is the first dance movement in the suite. These cello suites are made up of 6 movements, always starting with a prelude, and the other 5 movements all various kinds of dances. I love this suite and I'm looking forward to recording more of it. Thanks so much for watching! If you like these videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and if you really like them, you can become my patron on Patreon. I like requests too, so tell me what your favorite Bach Cello Suite movement is.